Hey, folks, we're back. Bringing you along. Been farming quite a bit this week. I'm tired. It's raining out. Some thunder. I like some thunderstorms. But we're going to work on the 1971 C10 in Spanish gold. I just thought, you guys come along and you watch my show and you take the effort to click on it, and some of you like it. Some of you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And the least I could do is come out, spend a few minutes on a truck, show you what's going on, do a little work with you, and show you how I do this. Even though I'm sure there's a million people that disagree, this is what I do. This is how I do it. This is how I like it. It's my truck. So there it is there. So I'm going to put you up on the hood, get you situated, show you where I'm at. But don't be discouraged. We're coming along. We've only got two. Here we go. We've only got two things left to do. Well, three, but I'm only going to make a video on a couple. And this truck will be finished. Now, when I say finished, is anything really ever finished? Yeah. It's finished when you're done. Oh, I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm coming. It's finished when you say you're done working on it, then you're finished with it. But my finished and your finished might be a little different. But I wanted to bring you along for the one, we're going to finish this roof. Two, I got the box prepped and ready for spray. I got to go get the color match to put in my Rhino. I want to do a video on that. I think you guys will enjoy it. Three, someday, not today, I'll even say it later, I'm going to cut the doors in. What that means is repaint the white on the top part and the Spanish gold on the bottom part. I mean, it's fine. It's just a little heavy patina for me, which is a polite way of saying it's got just a little more rust than I like to leave. Now, I park my trucks indoors and I try not to drive them in the rain, but it doesn't matter. I don't want to leave them. But I may or may not do a video on that, and it might not even be till this fall or this winter. But we're going to finish this roof up. I'm going to show what's going on. And then you can see the patchy, and this isn't fake. I try to keep it sprayed so nobody sees this, because it's like, oh, that's wrong, and look at that, and that's rust. No, it's not. And there's no rust up here. I covered this with rust converter before I started. And then I sanded all that down so that the rust converter would be in the deep parts and the top would be sanded to metal. I was able to leave some paint in some of the areas that were just the only area that was nothing going on. But if you notice, and I know you don't have the detail, maybe you can zoom in, but this particular United States shaped white spot was the paint when I bought the truck. And it had all these little, I don't know what they were. Somebody's up here with a ball peen hammer or a BB gun. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. But there were a bunch of pocks all over it, and the paint busted, and they were starting to rust. But as you see, I don't know that this was a GM paint or not, the white. I think it's been painted white once before. But you see this gray sticking through in these few spots? That's because those were low spots. And I didn't sand off my first primer, although the second primer sanded off completely, which means that's smooth. And you can't feel it. It's baby skin smooth. So what I did is I put a skim coat over some of the low spots. The last time I sanded it, I sealed it, and now I've done this. And there's just all kinds of stuff going on. And look at me. I don't know, a dusty mess. Look at my hands, which is a good thing. And I'll show you what. If you care how I do it, if you care how you might do it, the professional way, and strip it to metal and metal finish it and blah, blah, blah. Body shops start with the paint that's already on the car. It was there, it stuck. They assume it's good, and they work from there up. It's just the way it is. So when it comes to this truck, I thought I'd kind of do that because I knew I was going to be working up quite a ways. I didn't need to go down one more step. But what I do, and this has worked for me, fantastic, if you have the patience. What you do is clean it up, square it up the best you can. Use your Bondo, plastic filler, body filler, whatever you want to call it. Put on a couple of heavy coats of primer, sealer. Use that for your, that's what I'm going to do. And if you want to do what I do, that's how I do it. There's my disclaimer. Because I'm not a body shop guy. Did I ever tell you guys I'm not a mechanic? Hey, most of you figured that out by now. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I did stay at a Holiday Inn once. Okay, that joke's overused. But I'm not a million things, and for me to disclaimer that on this video is ridiculous. You just have to know I'm a body shop, or excuse me, garage shop kind of guy. So here's what I do. I put on a good primer sealer, and then I sand it off. But it leaves the primer sealer, in this case, is gray, and it leaves these gray spots where you're low. And you just keep building up primer and what have you, and just keep working it, keep working it. Yeah, nobody ever sands in circles. Oh, I do. Not all the time, but just when I'm light coating. Sometimes if I have like a little nib or something I feel feels high, I'll do this game. What that does is it keeps me from putting too much pressure. If you go really fast like that, you're going to hit your nib that's on there and it's going to come off and you're not going to gouge your paint and mess it all up. Okay, I'm not going to. Again, back to that disclaimer thing. But as ugly as this looks and as patchy as it is, okay, here's what I like. No gloves today because I get this powder on my hands. That way I know I'm not putting any oils on this whatsoever. I'm bone dry. Watch. See? Dust everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. Anyhow, you can take your dust-covered hand and you can just feel across the whatever part you're doing, and it's just so smooth. It's just nothing. Now, you might feel a little roughness where you're, I mean, this was Bondo right here. I don't even know if you can see it, or body fill or whatever. I got it down to where it's so thin, it was just filling a low spot that was there. But your hand can feel the difference between this nice paint and that body filler. There's a little more texture. You're not going to get it as smooth because it's a different material. But for the most part, it's just, I'm not kidding you. I wish you could rub your hands across it yourself. I really do. It's just, and then you'll get a little piece of dirt. And you just throw it off. You keep, there's one, and just keep sliding your hands around. I'm telling you, there's just nothing. This is just as smooth as it can be. Now, there's a little spot here in the front, really hard to reach. And I think it's because my primer is softer than whatever's causing this bump or low spot. Did I say that right? No, high spot. It might be the original paint or something. So if I keep sanding that, my sandpaper is going to go over, excuse me, sorry about shaking you there. My sandpaper is going to go over that harder material, and it's going to continue to sand my softer material. So I'm going to leave it until I recoat it, and the last time, I think you guys will enjoy it. I'll do one more video on this roof, paint it, and we'll be done with it forever. But I'm going to do a guide coat on it, a real light guide coat, and I'm just going to sand the guide coat off, and I got a feeling I'm going to have just a couple of little spots, just ever so little. That doesn't bother me. Really doesn't, because I guess you guys shake more than I thought up there. Sorry. Because this hasn't got to be perfect, and I'm going to put a heavy coat of paint on it. But darn it, it's just been so much fun to get it so nice up here. It was so bad. And I had this goal of having a nice roof. So it's just turned out great. I did fib. There is one spot right here, that feels a little funny. Now it has my gray primer on it, so it might be a low spot, but it feels bumpy-ish. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it again until I'm gonna spray on this one more time, and I'm gonna sand it with guide coat, and I'll just make it part of a good video of something else. I don't know what else. We'll work on the 68. We got plenty to do here. But I wanted to bring you in for this and just show you how I do it. It's ugly, but it's going to cover good. That spot's going to bother me. But we're going to get it coated. It's going to look good. It's going to be smooth. I'm going to show you the finished product as close as I can with as much light as I can, show you my flaws and imperfections. But this has turned out as good or better than any body work I've ever done. So that's kind of nice. I'm going to figure out a way to come around and show you guys. I'm sorry about the shaking. I'm going to get you off the truck right now. I prepped the box. It's not finished, but I was mostly prepped the box to get it color match sprayed. You know what I'm talking about. Under bed coated. And I want to show you what I did, and I got a couple more little things to do to it. And then we're going to have that video. So let me get out of here before I keep shaking you on over there on the hood, and I apologize. I didn't know it would be that bad. I did more work on the box than I was gonna, just like everything else. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. No, I'm not. I don't leave anything, and I wish I would. Because some people will look at this and say, well, you didn't care about none of that. And other people are going to look at it and say, wow, you put way more time into that than I probably would have. Because there's so many millions of opinions out there. You already know. But here is the inside of this box. I got you on my fancy tripod. I don't have one of them things that spins you around and makes you sick like some of those videos. But all right, so here's the inside of the box. You can pretty much see, and I'll give you a little scan. The front, you can see pretty good. Tip you in here, you can see this side, the tailgate. Now, I use different primers. The only reason that's dark and that's light. I'll put enough coating on it when I'm done that you won't notice that. So as a last little gander at this before we coat it, these are usually beat up bad. Plywood coming in and high here, and this guy moving bowling balls in here or whatever. They get beat up, and this wasn't too bad. There's a couple of little low spots and a couple of little rust pitting that I cleaned up. I'm not going to be that picky. I'm told that this bed liner covers a lot, but I'm paranoid that there's going to be something it can't cover, like this gap right here. Now I'm going to hammer that down, and then I'm still going to seal it. Probably doesn't need to be. The undercoating's probably going to seal that up just fine, but I don't want to. What I'm afraid of it being my first time is if it doesn't cover it, now I've got a mess. So if I over protect everything the first time and it covers it, I don't have to worry about redoing it or going over my old stuff. Something else I like to do, and I know you can't see on video, there's so many things that are fine. We're getting to that fine tuning part, but where these wheel tubs bolt in rather than being welded, there will be a seam back here. Now that seam that runs the whole top of this might fill in with bed liner. But if it doesn't, I'm going to be mad. So I'm going to use seam seal, a good quality seam seal, something that's going to get rock hard. Unfortunately, that's going to take, they say, hours to dry, but I'm going to leave it for days, maybe a week. I want it rock hard. I'll scuff it lightly, and then that will blend it in nice. Now this box probably looks better to you than it is. It is a pretty nice box for its age. This is an original. It's got a little pitting in the front. It's got a little whoop in it right here, just a little low spot. If you remember, like, I don't know, 14 months ago in the video. Little spot there. I hammered that all back from the other side. It was just awful loud. There's still just a little sway in it. The amount of time and effort it would take to fix that for this quality of truck would have been ridiculous. You're not going to see it. Nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to notice it. Nobody's going to care. Maybe me. But I look forward to this video, and I think you guys will enjoy it. I just said this a second ago, I go above and beyond what I plan on doing. I do it every time. So we're not going to talk about this next time. We'll talk about this time. This, again, bouncy, sorry. This rail top, bed rail, I was going to leave it. I was going to bed liner right up. I'm going to clean it up. Right up to these rust nicks, just over the crest, just a touch. And put a straight tape line on it, and I was going to undercoat that. Well, I ended up counting the 22 holes somebody drilled in this thing. Yeah, 22. Starting here, or up there, wherever you want to say. 22 holes. So I wasn't going to film. It's a lot of extra work. But I decided that's what I wanted, and it's my truck. So I went around, filled all the holes, skim coat of body fill just so there wasn't any pock marks or holes in it where I didn't notice. Right now I've got all that sanded down and there's metal showing on top of this. So I know I got very, very little product on it, tiny amount. And that's where you get all that shading from, is from going through the layers of filler and top coats and stuff you put on there. It doesn't mean that those are lows and highs, well, at least not anymore. But I said, forget it. This truck, it isn't that pristine SEMA truck. Why am I keep doing this stuff? Because that's me, and that's what I do. And that's what I do on this channel. So on this side, I don't know who, they drilled 4 holes, 2 back here and 2 up here. They didn't do it on that side. Yep, I couldn't leave them. I had to fill those too, which means I had to go back and sand them, which means I had to go back and Body film. Yeah, you get it. So this is probably going to be the next project, but I've been so busy farming and doing farm living fool videos and that kind of stuff's going on right now. I neglect them the rest of the year for the most part. Right now, you guys are getting just a few less videos, and I apologize. But I'm going to get you in and do some things. Again, they're not all fun, but everything in life isn't fun. So we're going to do them. We're going to do them together. You can come watch me here. I will. Oh, there's one more thing I got to show you. I'm such a dirty mess. Although that's ready. That's ready for its next coat and then guide coat. I never used it before, but I want to try it once. Watch me not, because I decided not to. I get like that. Where is it at? I wanted to show you this. Oh, I got it. Right over here. Right over by the microwave. No, not by the microwave, by the refrigerator. So what I was going to show you was right here. So this is the electronics that came with my electronic cutouts. Pretty neat. Two relays that run. I'm not bore you with this, but there's two wires that go out and run them exhaust muffler cutouts. By the way, it worked once, and the truck wasn't even running when I did it. That was wonderful. Once I started the truck, it never worked again. Well, I thought it was my wiring. I always blame me. Well, maybe some of you out there like that. Trust yourself a little bit. If you know you did a good job at something and there's a problem, doubt something else before yourself. Do a good job, do your best job, be confident you did it right. And then if there's an issue, don't problem solve thinking you're the issue. I've done it my whole life and it just wastes my time. Yes, I make mistakes. Yes, sometimes it's my fault. That's not the issue here. It is more likely to be something else that you didn't work on, something else that's wore out or somebody else did, or I don't know, was a problem during the car accident. Who knows? Excuse me. So that dust is kind of getting to me. I should have wore a mask, shouldn't I? Excuse me. I know that's rude, but wow. All right. So this quit working, and I'm not an electronics guy, all right? Testing light bulbs. I'm pretty good at that, but is that electronics? So I pulled this thing out, and it's like reading Greek or French to me. It means nothing. But I did notice that one of these ports on the back was all melted, and I couldn't hardly even unplug it. And after looking at it closer, it looked like it had melted down and then lost contact, and that's what made it stop working. Well, what you run into here, and I don't mean to carry on, but sometimes what you run into on trucks and cars and stuff, especially older vehicles, is you're using a 12-volt system, which is fine. But understand when something needs a lot of power, you have to use more amps. If you had higher voltage, you would have less amps. Now you can go research that Ohm's law and all that stuff, and it'll explain it to you. But the higher the voltage, the less the amperage. And amperage is kind of the hardness, the draw, the meat of it, if you will. So being a 12-volt system, some things run higher amps. Like those cutouts are motors. They're going to draw a little more power. And being that we have low voltage, we're going to draw more of that amperage, which tends to melt wires and that kind of thing. So when you have a lower voltage and a higher amperage, you use larger wires. Well, not when you get it from China. These are like 18, well, those wires weren't on it, but they were like 18 gauge. I don't know, they might be 26 for all I know, because I told you, I'm not an electronics guy. So a buddy of mine, Sean, thank you, took this home, and he does solar inverters, builds them, he's got his own company, Genetry Solar. Feel free to go there and check things out. I own one of his inverters. They're fantastic. Made in America, sourced with materials from all over the world. He picks out the best of what he figured, him and his co-partner there, what they think is the best product for that. And if they can't find something that they're happy with the quality, he's actually called China and talked to some of those guys and had a makeup part specifically just for him. Well, you know, one-off parts are expensive, even in China. So he's good at this stuff. I gave it to him. Of course, this is probably simple for him. And he depinned, I think. I don't know, but he took that block off and he soldered me on some wires, and he put a little elastic, I don't know, some hot glue, rubber, whatever it is, that keeps your wires from not pulling on the solder. But he's got me hooked up again. I got two wires here. So now I can hardwire this back in, and hopefully we can hear it when I do the walk around for you guys. I want to start it with it quiet and hit that, and you guys can hear it loud. So there's something we're going to put in. We could do together. All right, I think that's about it. I'm not rambling on. I like the truck. I like working on it. Don't get me wrong. We're getting near the end. It gets kind of boring. We've talked about this in a couple videos. The next video is going to be, I think I'm going to call it the final touches, and it will be the final touches for the YouTube video as far as the build. We're there. We made it. We got a couple things to do, and it's finished. Now, I'm going to revisit it. I always do. I'm going to revisit the green truck. That's going to be videos coming up too. A 1972. I love that truck. Green original truck. Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's had some replacement parts and things that need to be done to it. But it basically started out as original, and it's been just GM replacement parts as much as I can. Awesome truck. We're going to bring it to the channel again, probably in a week or two. But we're going to polish this out, polish up the wheels, take it for a car wash, all that. And we're going to do a walk around on it. But we still got to put in that bed liner, so come back and watch that. Yeah, flashy lights. Thunderstorm out there. No, the camera just does that. But we're going to say it's a thunderstorm because we do have a thunderstorm. I don't know. I guess I need a new camera, but just deal with it, would you? I would appreciate it. I'll try not to make it too flashy. Okay, that's it. Thanks for coming. Got more fun coming, and we'll see you. How about next week?